WFNK.com. Now, if you're more a social media person, you can follow along at The Stansbury Show on your favorite platforms there. And your studio's reachable. You can call or text 330-450-7625. To the best of my knowledge, the toll-free option, 800-243-7625, is a call-only option. We also have the microphone talkback button on iHeartRadio if you happen to listen that way. That's just about it. Those are the 11 ways in which you can reach out to me. This morning shall be a little bit different than some other Mondays. Scott from waitingfornextyear.com unable to join us this Monday. I believe that's his first time in like 10 years. He's told me, nah, man, I don't think I can make it Monday. I think he's, Scott has a day job on top of the waitingfornextyear.com stuff. He's got a whole nother job he's got going on there. And I believe he has some scheduling conflicts the first couple days of this week. I think we're scheduled to maybe get him back on the air come Thursday morning with us. And I look forward to that. Of course, now he is on an excused absence, and the Browns make a big deal. They make a trade. They end up getting Jerry Jeudy from the Broncos, who look to be fire sailing everybody right now, or at least a good portion of their team. Now, when a new coach comes to town, that's kind of what happens. Sean Payton kind of took over that team. He's going to root out everybody he doesn't want. He's going to trade away pieces maybe he does want to try to get some, capital back to try to maneuver that roster the way he wants to. So the Browns now picking up Jerry Jeudy, now making that wide receiver room deeper, which I believe it needed to be. Now the Browns, again, they have made some smart moves here, restructuring some contract deals, where they've already freed up some money now on that cap. I thought it was going to be a huge problem with Deshaun Watson's contract. I really did. I thought it was going to be a huge problem. But Andrew Berry has shown yet again that he's a little bit of a math wizard, dude. He kind of knows how these contracts work. He kind of knows how to do this part of that job, which is important. You may remember John Dorsey, who was a GM, was a pretty good talent evaluator. Not all of his picks worked, yes. Obviously, that would be true of any GM ever, right? Not all of his picks worked, but John could evaluate talent. But he was decent at that. He had zero clue how the math worked. Like, he was just a kid in a candy store buying everything and didn't realize, like, man, this check is going to come due at some point. It seems as if Andrew Berry understands that part of that job that much better than John Dorsey did, which I think is really the mark of a GM today, is the math magic part. It's a huge part of it. That's so much of that job now is like, all right, well, how do I keep these guys for 5 years? How do I seduce this guy into letting me rework this deal? And we've seen them rework some deals already, freeing up some cap room. And now, like I said, Jerry Jeudy going to be a Cleveland Brown. Now, it will take about a week, I think, for the paperwork to go through, for the deal to get finalized. But they knew they had some gaps at wide receiver, and they're looking to fill it. I love this move. I do. I love this move. We'll see what else happens. But, if you're looking for Deshaun to come back healthy, and it looks like that's what they're thinking is going to happen, then you need to have the targets, right? And what I like about this is, I've been saying it, remove the excuses away from it. Because like rust, right? We heard it. I was guilty of saying it. And then you started to play a little bit better, started to come back around again. Now here comes another injury. But then you get Flacco off the couch, and it was like, where's the rust at? So the more talent I give Deshaun around him, the more I'm able to say to him, bro, are you gonna play well or not? Like, the more they can dial up the pressure there, and then they can say, all right, you can evaluate what's going on. Now, a lot of people say, well, what's it matter if you can evaluate? You're stuck with it. You are? Why? Because you paid him a lot of money? The Broncos paid Russell Wilson a lot of money, and yet he's now a Pittsburgh Steeler. Denver's going to pay him like $30-some million to play this next year. Steelers are paying, I think, $1 million or something like that. It's like nothing they're paying. Russ went from the worst bargain at the quarterback position to maybe the best in like 4 days. And so I said last week, don't kid yourselves here. The Broncos just gave you a little bit of a playbook on how to do this if you want to do it, right? So we'll see what happens there. But Jerry Jeudy now going to be a Cleveland Brown, and I like that move. Absolutely like that move. Andrew Berry tried to get him last year. They've been after this kid for a while. They want this kid on this roster. They've been after him for a while. They finally got that done. Russ, like I said, now, Russell Wilson going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. For anybody who thinks Russ is washed, all I'll say is, you better hope so. And I mean, you better hope so. The Steelers were an absolutely tough out last year, and they just got bolstered at the most important position in all of U.S. sports. We'll talk about that a little bit. Keeping with the sports, Andrea Tomey is upset with a Cleveland radio station over their hounding of her, trying to get her husband on the phone. We'll take a look at this issue. We'll do that coming up at 9 o'clock. Also at 8, a baby in a bar. A woman was screaming about it. Is she right? Or is the couple who had their baby in the bar right? We've got some audio. We'll give you that. We'll do that in the 8 o'clock hour as well. I've been warning about deepfake nudes with AI technology, and sure enough, it has already affected a middle school in California. Some 8th graders are now going to be expelled over deepfake technology, making nudes out of their female classmates. And we'll talk about this a little bit coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. Also, a Canton man now going to spend some time behind bars because, well, he tried to get a hammer into the U.S. Capitol. We'll talk about that at 7 o'clock as well this morning. That story a little wild there, as I believe what you're dealing with is probably a little bit of a mental illness problem.
Here's what's next on the Stansbury Show.
Okay, so I have made the case for doming Cleveland Browns Stadium for like a year. And now there's a story coming out of Kansas City that kind of proves, yeah, let's just do this and prevent future problems. We'll get into it next on the Stansbury Show.
Back to the Stansbury Show on Rock 106.9.
8 a.m. this morning. We'll take a look at whether or not a woman yelling about a baby in a bar is the problem, or the parents who had a baby in a bar. Are they the problem? I got some audio on it. We'll take a listen to that. Surprise, the woman who was upset was inebriated, you know, having been in a bar, an establishment where you go for that purpose there. We'll get to it. 8 a.m. this morning. Also, I saw this article this morning on what are you trying to make money for? This guy that wrote this book that is titled, I'll Teach You How to Be Rich, was asking people, why are you... Program sometime this morning as well. All right. In my 20-year run of working at the radio stations, plenty of my opinions have changed over time, and I'm proud of that. I've had plenty of opinions change from 2 years ago today, and I'm proud of that. I believe that shows growth, or at least can, right? There have been plenty of things I've been turned around. Now, I always say I'll dig my heels in, but if you show me I'm wrong, I'll normally come in here and be like, all right, man, I kind of screwed that one up. It doesn't bother me. I'm not expecting 100% accuracy from me from my predictions. And I'm understanding of the fact that I can change over time and my viewpoints may change depending on what's going on in my life and new information and all of that. I bring it up because there is a subject that I used to get like foaming at the mouth angry about. That these days I don't care a whole lot about, and yet I'm now on the opposite side of what I used to think. Thought one way back in the day, cared a lot about it. I see it the other way now, and I care not that much about it. That conversation is whether or not you dome NFL Stadium. We were carrying the Browns back then, and I was younger and wanted to call everybody a sissy who didn't want to sit in frigid temperatures to watch a game that was going to end 10-7. and that kind of stuff, right? Like, that's AFC North football. It snows and you pound the rock. Pound the rock. And just screaming this stuff that had been yelled at by my grandfather, my father, and everybody else to me. And I used to get so mad about it. What are you doing? You can't dome. And now I think to myself, I feel like you kind of have to dome it, right? Like I do. Now, again, I've aged. Absolutely I have. I have aged. So sitting out there for 4 hours in frigid temperatures doesn't really sound all that appealing to me. Now, anytime I talk this stuff, I feel like I got to weigh this into it because this is different for me than it is for some other people. Not everybody, but for some other people. I've had easy access to things for 20 some years. I've been to more Browns games than I can count. I mean, we carried the team for the 10 years I was there. I literally was on site at every home game for like 8 years straight. So I've been to a lot of things. I mean, a lot of things. So much so now where I'm like, nah, I don't think I'm going to that. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to go to that. Yeah, I'm not going to go to that. So I think this could be, baked into my opinion now too. It's like, dude, I've been to too many things. I'm not going there to sit there in the frigid cold. Monday night game, Steelers, Ravens, something like that. Okay. The Jets on Monday night, not without Aaron Rodgers. Like, not if it's freezing cold. Like, sorry, no. Now, it's also the hour drive I have now. It used to be take the RTA right down the street from my house, right downtown, walk into the stadium, go, and then do the same thing to get home. It was easy. Easy peasy. Now there's a drive, there's freezing cold, there's all of that built into it, and I'm just not interested in it. I can't do it. Big game, maybe. Week 7, freezing cold, like, nah, I'm sorry, I'm out. Now, in week 7 these days, it's not necessarily as freezing cold as it used to be, as weather has completely changed since you were a kid. Don't worry, you being alive had nothing to do with it. Don't worry. I mean, it's completely different from when you were standing at the bus stop waiting for that to come pick you up as a kid, but you being alive had nothing to do with that whatsoever. Don't worry, nobody's blaming you, right? So I just can't stand the idea. Are they? I mean, are they? I feel like when you go back and you watch like the highlights, like I'm watching Dynasty on Apple right now about the Patriots, and you go back and you see those games and you see the 6 plays they show you from it, it's like, that looks great. It looks great. But when you watch the entire game, does it look really good? I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that. Why are you talking about this now? It's not even football season and we barely had snow. Why are you talking about this? Well, apparently, if you go back to January, when the Chiefs and the Dolphins played, I was told that was like one of the coldest NFL games in history. I think -4 they say they got to. Where now, so many people who went and saw a doctor, a medical director now says 70% of patients from Chiefs game who suffered frostbite will need to schedule amputations, man. They're going to take these people's digits. Their fingers, dog. They're just going to take them. A medical director at Grossman Burn Center says 70% of patients referred for frostbite injuries suffered in the January playoff game are now being advised to schedule amputations. Many of those, again, Chiefs fans, that game against the Dolphins where it was -4 degrees with a wind chill of -27 degrees at kickoff. Good Lord. I'm sorry. It was not the coldest game. We have this here now on this article tells me it was the 4th coldest game in NFL history. The coldest in Chiefs franchise history. It's pretty cold there in Kansas City, right? Wind and all of that stuff. So you want to be dealing with that? You don't have Patrick Mahomes, dude. It's Deshaun Watson. You want to get your fingers chopped off for number 4? I don't think so, dog. Like, I don't think so. And I've said this before. Plus, if you dome it, don't I get to use it all year? Don't I get to put a band in there? I don't know how many bands are selling out football stadiums. I mean, it's Taylor Swift, it's Taylor Swift, it's Taylor Swift. And then beyond that, if you get 9,000 bands from the 80s, then they can do it. But outside of that, I mean, you need 25 of them to do it. Poison, Motley, Def Leppard, Joan. I mean, dude, you needed like 1,000 people in there to even get those tickets sold. As a matter of fact, in a lot of cities, they weren't playing NFL stadiums. They were playing baseball stadiums because they're smaller, by and large. And as a matter of fact, as a guy who went to one in a football stadium here in Cleveland, or there in Cleveland, I guess I should say, in Pittsburgh, it worked way better in Pittsburgh. Way better. Wasn't even close. It worked that much better. The stadium was smaller. And that's about me and stadium shows. They're not necessarily my favorite. But, and I know, well, aren't you arguing for that right now? Well, yeah. I'm arguing for a venue that I get to use more than 8 times during the winter. Well, they use it in the summer, Stansbury. Stop with your hyperbole. Okay, fair enough. But I don't think people are going out there to risk amputation for Kevin Stefanski and Deshaun Watson, by the way, and we're going to use the venue a handful of times. If you're going to build a new one, and it sounds like they are, if that's what you're going to do, then put a roof on the damn thing and let's be able to use it all year round. What do you say? I say yes.
We would have them drug tested, but why waste the money? The Stansbury Show on Rock 106.9.
We'll take a look at the Browns acquiring Jerry Jeudy. We'll do that 8 a.m. this morning. necessarily the worst idea in the world there, adding Andrew Berry and the Cleveland Browns. We'll take a look at it at 8. Also, quarterbacks on the move all over the place. New England got rid of theirs. Denver got rid of theirs. So some teams got a new quarterback under center. Although Mac Jones isn't going to start. That won't happen. My guess is that he will sit behind Trevor Lawrence, now a Jacksonville Jaguar. Mac Jones. We'll get there at 8. You know, while hosting the program, I have to give out my opinion. You know, it's my job. And I will get called a hypocrite a lot. You know. And there are times where I guess I am. I'm human. It will happen. I don't believe it's all that often, but it will happen. And sometimes that's not the accurate term. I can be judgmental, yes. And people will call that hypocritical. One of those subjects I could be judgmental on, where I get called a hypocrite a lot, is pornography. Because I have been honest about the fact that pornography has reared its ugly head in my life. There have been times where it was like the usage was unhealthy. There have been times throughout my life where it has created intimacy issues in relationships, stemming from childhood trauma. And I've been honest about it. And I've also been honest about the fact that I don't think that being a pornography star, if we're going to use that word, is the best way to go about using your time. And people get upset about that opinion. You know, I'll tell you, there are plenty of people who view what I do for a living as not a great way to spend your time and not a great way to earn a living. I've had kids who I've loved be disinvited from birthday parties because of opinions I've had or just because of where I've worked. I've watched people say to me, "Oh, you host a radio show? For who?" And then when I tell them, well, it's a rock station, they go, Some of them. There's judgment everywhere. So if I can be judged for doing this, and that happens to my face, I think that's probably on the list of reasons why I feel as if I can judge other professions. So I bring it up because another porn star, and again, we're going to air quote that, has passed away at the age of 26 years old. Sophia Leone has passed away. Now, I didn't know who this person was. I don't know who Sophia Leone is. As a matter of fact, is it Leone or Leone? I honestly do not know. But she was 26 years old. Now, I knew there was another one. Was it Summer Leone? I forget. Sunny Leone. I think it was Sunny Leone. Her name I knew, and that's who I thought this was when I saw the headline. I was like, oh my God, did she die? By the way, she's not even a real big star. She was just more recognizable than Sophia. But adult film star Sophia Leone has died after being found unresponsive at her apartment. This was earlier in the month. Her family has confirmed the Miami-born adult film star, 26, was found March 1st by family members inside her home. Mike Romero, her stepfather, said local police are still investigating the cause of her death on her GoFundMe page. He wrote on the memorial fundraising page that she was found unresponsive in her apartment. That was March 1st, 2024. An investigation by local police into the cause of death is still currently ongoing. And he described her as a beloved daughter, sister, granddaughter, niece, and friend. He also wrote that she had a deep love for animals, including her 3 pets. And she began her career before she turned 20 and has a net worth of just over $1 million. Leone was scouted by an agent while attending a music festival in Miami, and after some research decided to join the industry. Since the announcement, donations have been flowing in for Leone on a special social media page and on the crowdfunding page GoFundMe. So now this is the third inside of 3.5 months that we've had. Jessie Jane Cagney Lynn Carter, Ohio-born adult film actress, and now Sophia Leone. This is now 3 in 3 months. Epidemic is too far, but something's going on. right? Now, if I just suggest that this is not a great way to spend your time, and it seems as if suicides are running rampant through the industry, and they have been for 30 years, you just never hear about it because nobody cares about what these women do. Nobody cares about these women or men, the performers, at all. You ever notice this? You want to steal porn? Everybody says, dude, you pay for porn, everybody tells you you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Most other forms of entertainment, everybody sticks up for the person. Russ better get the bag. They better get the bag. Justin Jefferson better give him the bag. Everybody argues for every famous person to get the money. That's what get the bag means. Get the money. Except when it comes to pornography. We all just kind of watch it. That soft blue light coming off the cell phone in the bathroom when the wife's not home, and the whole thing. And then the moment you're done, you're like, ugh, dude, disgusting. I never want to see this stuff ever again in my life. And you kind of put it away, and you never think twice about these people ever. By the way, I'm told all the porn stars all do it for the money. So she got into the business before she was 20. She took her life. Well, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happened there. She loses her life at 26 years old. 6 years in the industry. Just over $1 million net worth. By the way, they're going off of online accounting numbers versus what she may have actually had. I thought they were all doing it for the money. Okay for that woman though, right? Not for yours. Yeah, it kind of sounds like what my dad used to say to me all the time. There are things that are okay for other people's children that are not okay for mine. Which is his way of saying, I don't get to parent everybody. But if I did, this is what we would be doing. I'm always told it's the money. I think it was Bill Maher pointed this out like 35 years ago. Strippers and drug dealers always tell you they're in it for the money, and yet they never have any damn money. Ever notice that? In most other areas, dude, if an industry had this going on, it would be talked about. But because sex and because porn and because this, it's all kind of hush-hush. What do we do? What do we do? And everybody wants to tell themselves the lie. That these women show up on these doorsteps and choose to do this job because they're happy, well-adjusted people, and that's just how they're choosing to make their living. No, it isn't. I said this when Cagney Lynn Carter died. You know how many people in my industry have taken their lives? It's a lot. And if you don't think it's partially because of what they did to their lives and destroyed them for other people's entertainment as a reason why they hated themselves enough, you're crazy. Is it going to be the only reason? Probably not. Did it help put the foot down on the gas pedal for this? I think it's starting to be easy to see.
But nobody is stupid enough to take him seriously. The Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9.
It's 330-450-7625 to send a text to the studio. And we had been talking about a young woman, Sophia Leone, porn actress, was found unresponsive in her apartment March 1st. Family put out a pretty lengthy statement. People are leaping towards suicide, and I would have to admit that's kind of where I'm coming down on this. Accidental overdose, okay, maybe, versus intentional overdose. I think it could have maybe been that too. We'll wait and see what happens. But this is like the third inside of 3 months that we've had. It started with Jessie Jane, I believe, probably the most famous of the three. Now, she had not been famous for like a little while in that industry. You go back to like when Entourage was like running HBO and all of that. She had been in that with Vince a couple of times and some stuff, and she had been dating a few rock stars at that point. She was like the piece of arm candy a lot of singers and guitarists wanted while she was hot in that scene. She had not been that as much as of recently. Cagney Lynn Carter, again, Ohio actress, and now Sophia Leone. And I've been called a hypocrite about this because I'll watch porn and then say I don't think people should create it. That's not what a hypocrite is. A hypocrite is creating porn saying other people shouldn't be able to create it. I'm just judgmental. And I am judgmental about this. I am. I absolutely am. And it does come from a place of people have judged me openly to my face over what I've said in this career. And I've seen family members restricted of other things, and you're not being invited to this party because you're related to him, and you say you stand next to him willingly and say you love him. Sorry, we don't know how that looks over here with this and with that, and I don't know about that. And so, like, the open judgment in public eye life, it comes with it, right? And so I think that's maybe why I'm willing to be a little bit more judgmental on some other things. Well, God, if you're dealing with it, maybe you should understand what it's like. And like kind of let people off the hook. All right, maybe. But I'm not. Like, maybe that's what you think I should be doing, or that's what you would assume that's what I would do, but that ain't what I'm doing. Here's what I know about that industry. Yes, it is appealing to look at. Yes, absolutely. And yet I would fight with every fiber in my being to keep the young women in my life who I love away from it as much as humanly possible, no matter how much money you make. Which I always love this conversation, because when it comes up, everybody tells me, well, so what? They're making a bunch of money. Good luck keeping them off OnlyFans, Stansbury. You see what they make? Oh my God, all that money. Okay, so first, let's talk about OnlyFans and the money. They've run the data, and they have figured it out. 10% of OnlyFans creators are making 90% of the money. Most people are just out there topless with nothing. So there's that, first. Second, well, look at you now. While screaming in my face for 20 years about how money doesn't matter and that all I need is love. But when you want to be in defense of an industry, then you probably like a little too much, right? Or you just don't want to look like you're one of the judges. One of the judges. So, now matter? All you need is them hugs, man. That's all you need. Not that thing that's required to trade for every last thing in your life that you will want. Not that. Just get that love. So I noticed that I'm the money matters more than everything guy, and yet when it comes to this subject, everybody tells me how it's okay because they're making money. By this subject, I mean entertainment, by the way. No matter what a famous person does, who cares? They got the money. Who cares? They got the money. From the same people who tell you money doesn't matter. God, looks like it matters a big deal. Looks like it matters a whole lot to me. Of course it does. So the money, right? Because I was like, dude, this 6 years, a net worth of $1 million? By the way, net worth isn't just what you have in the bank. There's going to be some other factors in there. It was also a guess that they made. Because I said, Jesus, everybody tells me how they do this for the money. $1 million? And somebody said to me, dude, $1 million net worth seems like a lot in 6 years. Well, it said she got into the career before she was 20. She's 26. I'm going to guess it was closer to 18. So like, all right, maybe 8 years. Arrow on the CW, which was about the Green Arrow, a comic book character from DC. Okay. Star of the show. According to some online research I've done, $30,000 per episode to start when he was a nobody. And then I believe it got to $225 an episode by the time they were done. It ended up being a pretty big hit for the CW, from what I understand. And he ended up doing $225 an episode. There's 22 of those a season. So 30 times 22, from what I understand, would just be about $660,000 for a season. That's for the CW. Absolute smoke show done to NBA dudes. Like literally, pimps herself out to NBA guys. Like if they come through town or she's out visiting this town, dude, let me just tell you, she's getting paid to sleep with athletes. It's what she does for a living. Her OnlyFans sits dormant, bro. It just sits there. She's making a little bit of money. She's hot as hell. You can dude, honestly, you can barely stand next to the CW. Well, they shouldn't have to either. No, but they do. You ever notice what those women look like when they're not sitting in the makeup chair all day? Nothing like what they look like. So there again, your value is your vagina, but by the way, it ain't even really. And you mean to tell me you don't think that's gonna get to people? Never mind the kind of people that are attracted to entertainment type jobs to begin with. You know, like I've told you for 20 some years, broken, looking for that fix, Looking for a little bit of acceptance from strangers? Give me that thing that's missing in this God-sized hole. Fill it with your laughter. Fill it with your entertainment. Fill it with your watching it. Fill it with your masturbating. Then I'll be a full-blown. Sorry, I just don't see it as a fair. To that wide receiver room, picked up I think a little bit of an underrated player, maybe. At least that's what I'm hoping. We'll take a look at that at 8. Normally we have Scott on Thursday is when we have rebooked him this week. But we'll take a look at that trade. Russell Wilson moving around, Mac Jones, a few other things going on in the NFL. All right, it's an election year. And so you'll see craziness all over the place. And I think as we get closer, you're only going to see more. I can't believe what I'm seeing here, right? Like, I just think you're going to see more and more. There's a lot of speculations out there about why that may be. Well, that issue that everybody told us wasn't an issue, is that going to pop off like right before we go vote? Because it kind of seems like it's going to, right? It does absolutely seem to be that way right now. I also saw over the weekend, did I see this maybe Friday I saw it, where the current president, Joe Biden, has said he Donald Trump there. It all depends on Trump's behavior. If he behaves properly, he'll do it. I gotta be honest with you, it's kind of a smart move. Now, I know the people who hate Biden, and I'm getting closer and closer to being on that list, but the people that hate him are gonna say, it's un-American, you can't do that, you gotta show up, you gotta debate and all that. And I probably agree with all of those viewpoints. But you can't deny it was a smart move, right? Because he didn't deny the debate. He did not do the debate. He just said he wasn't going to do it. It's not the same thing as not doing it. It isn't the same thing. I actually thought this was a little bit slick from him, which means somebody else decided on it. Right? Like, let's be honest. The guy that doesn't pick up his feet when he walks didn't come to this on his own, right? Like, come on, we know that, right? And so that's the new thing. And when I saw it, I was like, oh God, that's really smart. Because he just positioned himself as the adult in the room. And his rival as a screaming child. Now, where that move really kind of falls mostly flat for the country is what? His supporters already think Donald Trump is a whining baby who cries about everything. They're out to get me, right? They already think that. And Donald Trump's supporters already think Biden is a fascist and a, dictator and all of these things that he's doing, and so you bolstered that side, but that side was already bolstered against you. These things are always polarizing. This one feels like maybe more so than ever. Now, I bet I'm going to be able to say that every election for the next 10, right? I'm hoping no longer agree on what's true anymore because we want to go down with the ship of a party and candidate versus what is reality is going to be a problem for that. And I know just by doing the show, right? Because I don't care for the president a whole lot, but I just gave him credit. So my messages will now be filled with, you were always a libtard, man, I knew it, libtarded, I knew it, I knew it. You mean you knew it from me saying for 20 some years I lean left? Is that how you knew it? Because I straight up told you? Is that how you knew it? By me saying it? Maybe that's how you knew it? But so many left people think, he's secretly all right. He's secretly all right. You can tell, man. Well, no. The party I used to support has gone so far left, right? Like, that's kind of what's happened to that whole